How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the Black Metal Rebellion. I'm your host, Jesse Morgan, aka Slammerella. My apologies for the lack of content over the last, 30 days or more. I took about a week break after the previous video, and then I was going to start getting going on a new collection update, which we're going to be doing today. And then, of course, I start getting a little bit sick, and then over a few days, I ended up getting a throat cold, which made my voice sound really fucking weird and gross, and I could barely talk for an extended period of time, which is obviously needed to make videos and talk about music. So I had to wait a week and a half until I got over that. And then, of course, the holidays started hitting, and, had to start getting back out there and getting some presents and last minute gifts for the kids and the wife and family and stuff. And then I had a couple of events too, like going to a potluck at my Goju Ryu Karate Club and meeting their families and talking to the other students and the parents and stuff like that. So that was fun. But the holidays are finally over. My vlogging area here is now decluttered from presents and other wrapping assorted items, so we can finally get down here and do a video. So without any further ado, let's finally get into that collection update that was supposed to be done probably about 2.5 to 3 weeks ago. And we're going to start off with a new release from this year, Slipknot's 7th album, The End So Far. It was released September 30th of this year. They are a nu metal band out of Iowa, USA, and they started in 1995. Besides this, they have 6 other studio albums and 1 independent album, which is Mate Feed Kill Repeat, and 1 unreleased album, Crows, which I need to check out because it's actually hanging out on YouTube somewhere around here. So yeah, I was always kind of interested in that unreleased album. Hopefully it has all the tracks that was supposed to be released on it, because that would be sweet. Anywho, this new album probably shares the same opinions I had for We Are Not Your Kind, and that's the track list there. If you really want a good opinion on this, I would say just go to the House of Masks channel with AJ Good. They talk in depth about their thoughts about the album and give pretty much my similar feelings on it. It's a little bit less good than We Are Not Your Kind, but also has a few things that shine here and there. The Adderall song's really slow and boring, and then the Dying song, Time to Change, was okay. I wasn't a really huge fan of the Chapeltown Rag when it came out, but the more I listened to it, the more it's like, yeah, this is a pretty standard middle of the road 6 out of 10 maybe Slipknot song. So it's grown on me a bit. Yen, again, really slow, but it has a couple of interesting lines on it. Something about dragging a knife across their skin and stuff like that. It was kind of cringe at first, but again, the more I listen to it, the more it grows on me. Hive Mind, I really enjoy the Protect the Hive chant near the end. It's got a couple of interesting riffs here and there, but most of the song I don't really remember too much about it. And I have heard like a lot of this. It was played at least 5 or 6 times in my van while we're traveling here and there with the wife, and I've listened to it on YouTube here in my house a few times too. So it's not that it hasn't got enough listens for me to remember what's in it. It just, besides the main heavier part near the end, it doesn't really stick out. Warranty, I don't remember anything about Warranty. It's probably okay. If I don't remember too much about it. Medicine for the Dead, I remember being probably about another 6 out of 10 song for these guys, but I don't know. Nothing sticks out to me about it. I feel like Acidic was kind of boring. Definitely not memorable. Heirloom, don't remember anything about that one. Nothing sticks out in my mind about that. Hell, or H377, edgy title, leet speak, I guess. Besides the one line in it, I know someone hates me and I don't care, or something. Corey Taylor's down with the haters kind of line, or fuck the haters kind of line. It's edgy, it's whatever. That's the only thing I remember from that song though. Desaad, I think I remember being pretty good. Maybe a 7 out of 10 for a song. And then the finale, or final? I'm not sure how you're supposed to pronounce that. Probably finale, because there's an E at the end. that one was surprisingly good. It's kind of slow, but the main riff in it gets kind of slightly heavier and more intense as the song goes like along. And yeah, it's surprisingly has like some feels in it, not like sad feels, but like intense, like wow, this is kind of really cool. So yeah, slow but really really engaging final track. Really enjoy it. The wife and I do not skip that when that song comes on. So yeah, all in all, it's a mostly all right Slipknot album. It's the least heaviest out of all their releases. I broke some teeth on this because one of the cats got in the room. We try to normally keep them out of this room because valuables. So yeah, got some teeth missing on this, but other than that, it came in good condition. So should be interesting to see what Slipknot does after this, because according to what I've heard, this is their last album on Roadrunner, and people keep trying to say that this is a fuck you to Roadrunner, but I don't know. Could you really make an entire album worth of material that is just made to satisfy a label and kind of done as a farewell or fuck you to the label? I don't think so, because what I hear in this is just another seemingly natural progression of where Slipknot's going in their musical career, or at least the one they were on Roadrunner. So I don't know. I don't think this is a legit fuck you to Roadrunner. I feel like it's just something that is the end of what they're trying to do while on Roadrunner, and I don't feel like they're trying to stick it to Roadrunner by releasing the material that was on this. But that being said, I am really, really curious to see what happens after the end so far, because it's either going to go one way or the other. It's going to go even like more mainstream and softer and kind of like catchier and poppier, or they're going to bring back more intense, extreme elements of metal into their newer album post Roadrunner. Let me know in the comment section what you think is the next step for Slipknot. Do you think that they're going to go softer and more pop and more mainstream? Because that feels like what their progression is more poppier, more catchy, kind of softer stuff with some like industrial nu metal riffs and licks mixed in there? Or do you feel like post Roadrunner, they're going to really step on the gas and light a match and have some super duper fucking heavy shit in the post Roadrunner album? Let me know in the comment section below. It'd be interesting to discuss that. Probably not going to do a full-on review. Again, AJ Good from the House of Masks pretty much sums it up really, really well and does some comparisons from song to song from We Are Not Your Kind and this put together, and kind of analyzes some of the cooler riffs from this in comparison to older albums. So I would say just go check that out. Maybe I'll have a link in the description box below. If you're watching from mobile, you can click on that and check it out. All right, moving on. That is my mini review, I guess, of the new Slipknot album, but we got a lot more to talk about here. Now, this is kind of rare, but not rare enough to really say it's rare. This could have been included in the nu metal alternative albums you will probably never own video, but I feel like you could probably get a hold of this no problem, like a couple of the ones in there. So what I'm talking about is Motograter, their very first album. There was 2 EPs before this was released, but this is a nu metal slash alternative slash industrial metal band out of California, USA, that started in 1995. This particular album, the self-titled album, was released in 2003. This was the only Motograter album to feature Ivan Moody of Five Finger Death Punch. Now, I'm not going to get into Five Finger Death Punch or the basically unfair rep that they have or hate that they get, but this was an all-right album. I actually really, really enjoyed the first Motograter album. The riffs, the experimentation with sound, and the Motograter instrument is pretty interesting. Ben Moody is extra angsty in this. Some of the riffs sound very Korn and Slipknot-like from the earlier days. Just some pretty decent alternative and nu metal with industrial elements shoved in here. And if you didn't know it was Ivan Moody, you probably wouldn't care that he's singing on this, and you would probably actually enjoy it. Now, you're going to go one way or the other, obviously, since the Five Finger Death Punch debacle in the metal scene here, but I enjoy it. I don't really have a problem with Five Finger Death Punch. I think the only problem that I'm aware of is that people don't consider them metal. Whatever. It's heavy. It at times Five Finger Death Punch sounds like Corey Taylor every now and then, and could easily just be slightly heavier Stone Sour in my opinion. So if you like Stone Sour and Slipknot, you should probably enjoy this album and probably the first 2 or 3 Five Finger Death Punch albums. You know, if you're just looking at it purely in a musical point. But yeah, I'm glad to have this. It's a really interesting early nu metal kind of, again, not rarity, because you can pick it up probably no problem on Discogs or eBay or whatever, but not an album or band that many people talk about nowadays, or maybe even early days either for the metal YouTube scene. But highly recommend checking it out if you are someone who can enjoy nu metal or alternative metal and can look past the fact that the singer is Ben Moody. I'm going to have to go check out their other album, though, Desolation, that was released in 2017, because I can't remember what it sounds like without Ben Moody being on vocals. The other 2 EPs prior to this is probably just similar material, so probably not missing out on too much, and I'm probably never going to find copies of them. But we'll see. We'll see if Desolation is worth picking up. But yeah, Motorgrader from 2003. Pretty cool alternative nu metal band. Next is something I picked up for the wife, but I have shown on this channel before, so I figured I'd show this as well in this collection update. It is a alternative metalcore band. This is Bad Omens with their second album, Finding God Before God Finds Me, from 2019. Not quite as heavy as their self-titled album from 2016, but still has a few memorable tracks on here. There's the inside. The artwork's kind of neat. It's very minimalist. It's got like this ashen burnt character with like gold for blood, and then you got the apple thing here going on. Not sure. There's probably something behind the tray here too. Let's check that out. Okay, yeah, it's just a close-up of the hands clasping and the ash and gold artwork going on. So yeah, the first album is definitely heavier than this one. And I haven't heard anything from their third album, Death of Peace of Mind, which came out February 25th of 2022 this year. However, I feel like it's probably more in line with this album than it is the self-titled one. And if you don't know where these guys are from, they're from Virginia, USA, and started in 2015. I don't see too many people that are subscribed to this channel probably going out and seeking this on purpose. However, there are some pretty heavy riffs and breakdowns and kind of compositions on their first album, the self-titled Bad Omens album from 2016. So if that piques your interest at all, give Finding God Before God Finds Me a chance, perhaps. And if that doesn't tickle your fancy, then I can understand not checking out the third album. I'll probably try and track it down for the wife sometime in the future, but yeah, I figured I'd include it on here because there might be 1 or 2 of you that have some sort of interest in this stuff, and it is a new album we've recently got that's sort of in the metal, atmosphere. Alternative metal and metalcore, arguably metal or not metal, but hey. Anywho, that's the second album from Bad Omens in 2019. All right, and the last 2 that I'm going to show off in this collection update are technically the same album. One's just a re-release with a couple of bonus tracks, but those bonus tracks are kind of cool, so I figured I'd get it. All right, so more alternative metal / nu metal. This is Thumb with their self-titled album from 1995. They are from Germany, and they started in 1993. I really enjoyed this band. I got into them via their album Exposure that came out in 1997, which is their second album. But yeah, I really like that album, so I went back and checked out their first one back then. I've heard this for a while, but yeah, it's pretty good. Has a couple of really cool tracks on it. This is the original version they released back in '95. Has a couple of really good tracks on here. Red Alert being one. Fascism Sucks, Haunted, and Victim of Your Lies. Basically, the first 4 tracks on here really good. The rest of the songs are, you know, mediocre thumb songs. But I'm glad to just have the original version. I like the cover. I like that little like thumb patch kind of on the jacket that they wear. I don't think they ever actually made those patches. Maybe they did. I'm not sure, but it would be cool to get one. $24.95 Deutschmarks. I'm not sure how much that is, but I don't think I spent $25 for this, so glad to have got it for cheaper. Yeah, if you like kind of the hardcore punk, alternative metal stuff, check Thumb out. They're really good in my opinion. And this is the re-release called Thumb Encore that they released the following year in 1996. Encore is there on the inner spine. There's the back, with, as you can see, a lot more tracks added to this one and some live stuff. I Don't Want to Hear It is a really good track. It was previously unreleased up until this one, and then it's got 5 live tracks, live track versions of their stuff from the album. They have a 96 re-release version of Red Alert, and then they have a track called Aside, which is really good, which is also previously unreleased. It's basically 3 previously unreleased tracks and 5 live versions of their tracks from the first album. Interesting to hear their live stuff for sure, and hear how the crowd reacts to them and the energy that they get going during those songs. Definitely has that hardcore punk vibe and feel and an energy to it, but also has some like pretty like tingy metalcore or alternative metal and new metal riffs in there too. Kind of got some of that like rap metal singing going on here and there as well, especially in It Ain't What You See and Consumer's Rhapsody. I kind of was going through a huge like alternative metal and new metal stage all through high school, and it kind of just stuck with me after a little bit as well. So it's cool to go back and pick up some original releases from this project that I enjoyed back then and add it to the collection, because fuck collector scum. I mean, this is why we're here, folks, to go and collect things and have them on our shelves and have something to physically to hold on to and look at and say, yeah, I actually bought this. I have a physical copy of this, and I'm representing the artist, or behind me the producer and director's stuff, as opposed to just buying shit from Spotify or iTunes and not having anything to show for it. So yeah, that's this collection. Hope you enjoyed talking about these albums with me. Maybe I've turned you on to some new stuff. Let me know if you like Moto Grader. Let me know if you've checked out Bad Omens or Thumb, hopefully. And give me your thoughts on what you think is going to happen with Slipknot post Roadrunner. Are they going to get softer and poppier, or do you think they're going to crank it up to 11 and get heavier? Would be cool to know. After this, I have a Christmas collection haul update with some CDs and some seasons of stuff. Maybe you'll like to see it and stick around after the albums, because I'm going to do the seasons and DVDs after. So it'll basically be a collection update plus Christmas haul mixed all into one. Will be the next video. So thanks for watching. For Glory, for the Rebellion, Slammerella out.